How do we show up in a high vibration as a sixth sensory in our relationship with five sensories? It's so easy for us to have high vibrations when we're praying or meditating or doing our spiritual practices, and those are essential. We should be doing those. However, it's very possible we could be doing those and then showing up completely reactive, completely low vibrational in our professional and personal relationships by accident, because we're just not aware of how to show up in a high vibration. And so I'm going to talk about that today. How do we show up in a high vibration to all of our relationships? And it's even more important in personal relationships, and I give those examples a lot because that's where we can get the most triggered. But we can get triggered in business too. The key is you want to remain calm in all situations, regardless of whatever triggers come up, and deal with it in a way that is constructive. And don't react emotionally and irrationally in situations that upset you. That's the key takeaway. But I'm going to give you a few examples step by step on how to actually manifest that in a practical way in your relationship. So here is the first step. Whatever goals you're trying to achieve, whether it's personal or professional, let's say you want to get married or you want to have your own TV show, regardless of whatever you want to do, always show up high vibrationally with the people who are your potential partners, either in business or in personal life. And what I mean by that is let them come to you because they're attracted to your vibe, they're attracted to your work, rather than you chasing after them or trying to seek their approval. If you want a long-term relationship or a long-term commitment and you don't want to be abused or taken advantage of by other people, it's very important that they show you their sincerity. As intuitive, empathic, sixth sensory people, we do show our sincerity by putting our work out regularly and helping people and being of service. And always remember as a sixth sensory that there are so many channels where you can publish for free that allow you to serve in a way that doesn't require approval from anyone. You can be on YouTube today and that does not require any kind of contract with a TV producer. Therefore, there's no real need for you to seek approval from a TV producer. If you happen to meet one, that's great, but you don't have to be needy for anything from them because you have the tools to make your dreams come true today. And it's the same with traditional publishers. You can self-publish your own book now online, so there's no need to be crazy in seeking approval from publishers these days. If they come into your life and they're interested, that's fabulous. But you don't need to chase after them, Let them come to you and be attracted to your high vibration rather than you chasing after them. And this lesson is probably most critically important when it comes to potential partners. If you're looking to get married or have a long-term relationship of some kind, let these people really show you their sincerity over time and let them invest in you and prove to you that they are interested. Don't guess whether or not they are interested. If you're guessing, that's a good sign that they're probably not the right person for you. And that leads into step number 2, which is don't jump into any kind of commitment too quickly. So that can count for personal or business. And when you're personal, you may not have sealed the deal in terms of starting a relationship, but you do enter into an energetic commitment when you become intimate with someone, even if there's no oral agreement between you about a relationship. There is a level of intimacy there. There is a level of interaction and depth where you are kind of sealing a deal with your body when you choose to be intimate. And so that's very important to be aware of. If you're not sure about a person, like you would share a contract with them or share expenses, then you probably shouldn't share your body. But having said that, there's no real rules on your body except for you. You have to decide what's right for your body and when it's the right time to become intimate. And business contracts can actually be kind of a similar form of commitment. When you sign the contract, it's done. And so you want to make sure when you're getting into business with somebody, it is a bit like getting into bed with somebody. Are they really the right kind of partner for you? Are you going to be able to sustain this partnership long term, or are they going to treat you badly? I had this experience with a part-time job a while ago. It looked like a reputable company. It was going to be a sales position. And as I was going through the process of getting hired, their systems were just so bad that I realized that I didn't trust this employer at all. And I didn't want to be signing any contracts or getting involved with them whatsoever. So these are the signs that you have to watch for when you're getting into new relationships with people before you sign contracts, before you get intimate or agree to anything. Make sure this person shows up with integrity and they are treating you well. And if you're not sure, go slow and take your time. My next tip in order to operate in your relationships high vibrationally is you have to be willing to accept bad news from a place of self-control where you're not getting emotional. You can get emotional in private, but not in front of the person who's delivering the bad news. Don't lose your temper, don't cry, don't yell at them or say it's unfair. Stay calm whenever you're being delivered bad news and make choices based on that information and just take it in like data. Don't take it so personally. If the person you're dating says, hey, I want a relationship with somebody else that I've been dating and I'm not feeling that attracted, then let them go. Don't get mad. Wish them well and move on. If the business partnership or the publishing deal doesn't work out for whatever reason, accept that with grace. Be kind to people and don't get angry and badmouth them on the internet because you didn't get what you want from this person. Always conduct yourself in a way that if somebody was watching you, they would say that you were responding with grace and with a good attitude. If you have a bad attitude and you start posting negative things like, oh, beware of this publisher or beware of this person, they're a bad partner, then that makes you look bad, not the person who did the damage. People can figure out who's a bad person. So you don't need to tell anybody or spread any rumors. Let people decide for themselves what kind of person that they are working with. Always put your higher priorities first before the priorities of other people. Now, I'm not saying pretend that you're busy and eat potato chips on the couch while you watch TV and don't respond to somebody who's just emailed you or texted you because you're trying to appear like you have a life when you really don't. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having real priorities that you've reflected on, that you are managing and that you are going for as a sixth sensory. For example, if you want to put your work out in the world, do that regularly. Put out videos, put out posts. And focus on that. You don't have to win a publishing contract to be successful as an intuitive. That is really a cherry on top of your cake. And the most important thing is to have your cake, have your message and have your audience and put it out there, and don't do it for the approval of a publisher or the approval of a TV station or whoever you're trying to get approval from. And it's the same in relationships. The minute you lose your personal interests, your hobbies, your friendships, or the goals that you're working on in favor of this personal relationship, that person you're trying to spend time with, what happens is that person will lose their respect for you. They will think that you've changed and that you're not the same person that they fell in love with. And so that's why it's so critical for us to take time to evaluate our goals, spend time alone, and figure out how I'm going to prioritize my life around the things that I'm trying to achieve, and say no to priorities that aren't good for you. You don't have to do what people tell you to do if they're telling you to do something bad, or even if they're just telling you to do something that's not very meaningful, that's very mundane. If it doesn't fit with your goals and your dreams and ambitions, then don't do it. My last piece of advice is never lower your standards. Even if you think you're doing it to get along with family or somebody who's been in your life for a long time, stay with your high standards. If you eat a specific diet, stick with that diet and be certain and be happy with your decisions. So many people don't do any diets at all. And I'm not saying you have to be a vegetarian like me, but do what feels right for your body, whether that's gluten-free or organic. Whatever commitment you have, stand by it and don't compromise just because it's inconvenient for somebody else. Additionally, don't just sleep with a person the first night because they asked you to do that. You just want to do what's right for your health, what's right for your mental health and your physical health. Don't just do things because people asked you to or said that it's normal for them. Maybe for somebody else it is normal, but maybe that person is very dysfunctional and very unhealthy and unhappy in their lives. So you don't want to emulate common behavior that's bad. I'm seeing it now where you don't even go on the first date and people are just asking, for whatever up front. And that might be normal to people who are dysfunctional and not very healthy mentally, because we have been through a hard time as a society with the pandemic a few years ago. But just because other people are behaving in strange ways does not mean you have to engage in ways like they are in order to fit in. Don't try to fit in if the norm is something that is unhealthy and not good for you. Keep your standards always. And if you have a life with specific hobbies and disciplines or part-time jobs that you commit to or time with your family, don't give those up because somebody else asked you to give it up. Keep those commitments in place because those are your key support systems that really enhance your life, and nobody should be giving those up in order to meet an authority figure's approval, whether that's a work authority figure or a potential partner.